This lighting's super cool. I would love to do this here, but I feel like the sub pump's gonna make this completely unbearable. So hold on, let me find another spot. So I popped over into a janitor's closet to make the sound a little better. Yeah, so I'm over at the job. This weekend was my first weekend just messing around with the sugar diet. I started last week and, I was like easing into it, thinking calories in, calories out. I'm like counting and weighing cherry tomatoes and grapes, and I'm figuring out like how many grams of carb do I want to add a day, because I know from the past and the million diets I've tried that once I hit so many grams of carbs, it's like the next day I'm gonna have all this water retention. I'm gonna get on the scale, and if I'm not just trusting the process of like what's going on under the hood, I have no idea really what the weight's going to be like, because there's just so much guessing work with the water stuff. And so last week I started getting into it more and more, and it was not anything like that. Instead, it's like the more carbs I'm front loading into the day, I'm waking up lighter incrementally every other next day. And so what'd that look like? Eating for me was starting the day off with honey, hitting the gym, hitting some weights, hitting some steps on the treadmill. And there was, like this instant burst of energy from just front loading the day with some carbs like that, just from a couple servings of honey. And I found myself suddenly hitting 10K steps, by the time I'm walking in the door at work instead of halfway into my workday. I found myself, a little bit faster on the treadmill, cranking it up to, like 3.5 miles per hour, suddenly jogging, hitting 5 miles an hour, like stretching my hips out, feeling good. And it just radical, man. So, like I said, I was just kind of testing the water out, and I knew Friday I was going to have lunch with some work guys, some buddies of mine, and we were going to go to this cheesesteak shop, Johnny's in Bryn Mawr, and it was kind of planned, but at the same time, I was like getting more into the sugar thing, so I didn't want to, get caught up in the calories in, calories out topic and start shortchanging myself on what I was experimenting with the sugar diet. So from Wednesday into Friday morning, I was pretty consistent with eating, front loading the day with carbs, getting home from work, having a lean meal with like 30 grams of fat from coconut oil or olive oil, 16 ounces of chicken breast, maybe 400 grams of some roasted green veg like asparagus, broccoli, a little bit of kimchi, and then in the night with some kind of, yogurt bowl, Ninja Creamy thing, or 2 scoops of whey in some water. And so I go into Friday, have this cheat meal with my buddies around noon. Before that, I take Cole's advice and I front load the morning with carbs. I had a full sugar cream soda for the first time in a couple of years. I had a coconut water. I had kiwis. I had dates. I had some apples. I had some honey. And I get on the scale Saturday morning after this cheat meal, and my experience was like, what? I didn't put on any water weight. I was like a smooth 200. And then I do my first 36-hour sugar fast, where I have over 3,500 calories of fruit, kiwis with honey, 2 kinds of grapes, a mango, a couple pears, a couple apples, a couple fistfuls of dates, a couple fistfuls of dried figs, orange juice, more honey and kiwis. We had this, like I said, I had 2 kinds of grapes. I had this variety of grapes called musk something that were musket something, and they were from Argentina, and they were like this lovely purple green color. And I wake up Sunday morning, just like in my head, I had 3,500 calories yesterday, and I wake up 198, down almost a full 2 pounds, and lighter than I had been in 2 weeks. Now, granted, I know that there was a little bit of bloat from the Friday cheat meal, but no matter what, I just put 3,500 calories of carbs into me and woke up the next day lighter than I had been in 2 weeks. Going into Sunday, Mother's Day, I know that me and my wife are going out for lunch. We're gonna have some meat. We're gonna have some starch, and we're gonna have a dessert. I front load the day with kiwis, honey, and some dates and figs, and I don't have any fitness activity at all. We go to mass, we go to our church, and then we hang out for a little bit and go to lunch. I eat till I'm satisfied with red meat, a little bit of starch, a couple pieces of like Parmesan cheese or whatever the Brazilian steakhouse was offering. Had a couple spoons of the mashed potatoes. Had one of the fried bananas that come at these Brazilian steakhouses. And then after that, stopped at a bakery, had some dessert, had a little bit of ice cream, and woke up this morning 200 pounds, which is lighter than I was last Monday. And so anyways, this is my first week now really getting into it. Really starting out on a Monday with a meal plan that's 5 days throughout the week, where I'm gonna, like for example, tomorrow I'm gonna do a 36-hour juice fast. Today I'm gonna do, just sugar up until I get home, have 16 ounces of meat with a little bit of roasted veg, and call it a day with eating. Wednesday, same thing, right? Like I'm gonna start the day with my fruit, my activity, my work day. I do maintenance, construction stuff. Right now I'm hiding out in the janitor's closet. There's like cooks that are gonna be walking by and I don't want them to hear me, but whatever. Yeah, and so like this week I'm gonna be really about it. This is gonna be my first week really jumping into it, tracking. I'm gonna be continuing to track calories because I think it's an interesting experiment to know that I'm consuming X amount of calories and my weight is trending in this way. Now, whether or not it's because my metabolism's ramping up and I'm actually burning this many calories because of the sugar, it's irrelevant to me. I could care less. What I care about is that I'm not fasting depriving myself. I'm not cutting out food so much as I'm just choosing some other options and finding things that like I could take joy in eating regularly throughout my day. And I'm gonna chronicle it and go through the week and see what's going on. It's so cool being a part of this, and so many of you guys that I follow like daily for the last couple weeks. This guy Latchkey, it's so cool just like watching this guy, and you can see it, he's finding so much joy in what he's experiencing, crushing smoothies and losing weight, and like not being this crazy physical guy, just getting his steps in and seeing his energy, grow out of it. So this is going to be an exciting week. I will be checking in with these videos and just letting you guys know what the journey's like, because I know many of you are not only interested but are participating in this. And so it's pretty cool that we're doing this together, and I'm excited for it. Anyways, have a good day, guys.